I don't want to get too far away from where you started, which is where you mentioned the National Guard and these conversations where people are saying, or some people are saying they can't wait for the National Guard to get here. Well, it's like two type of people. It's some people that are not in tune with the streets at all and everything that you just mentioned and are not comfortable with the fact that people are getting shot left and right,
Hmm.
whether they're familiar with them or not. And so they may really feel like, whew, okay, somebody coming in to do something about it. And then there's, other folks that are a little bit more knowledgeable to like what it is that you're saying or not. Because so basically, I just want you to kind of like talk more about why it's wrong, or maybe that's not what you're saying, but why it's so bad that the National Guard is here, or why it's a good thing. Like just
Well,
both sides of the conversation, I guess.
I would go back to the previous generation, right? When we talked about the the war on drugs and the war on crime that came in and swept a whole generation of black men off the streets and locked them up for decades, right? The black community was championing all of that at the time because there was 900 murders a year. So it's like, yeah, this got to go. Lock all of them up, right? With this idea that that was going to solve some issue, as opposed to understanding that's going to leave how a whole generation of children to raise themselves, and then now you get another generation of this shit. Add in the media, add in the perception. Now, even though it's gone from 900 murders to 400 or 500 murders, the perception is that it's wilder than it's ever been. So again, you get black people championing this idea of bringing in the National Guard to send tanks down King Drive. Get rid of all of them. Like we've seen this movie before. It gets more intense. It gets more theatrical. But we've seen this movie before. It doesn't work. And why we would think it's gonna work this time is
So, to your point, E, and shout out to my brother Rodney, man. I love you, dog. He just lost his son, maybe 2 years ago.
I
Right?
remember that. Yeah.
Rest in peace to Khalil, right? And he's one of the people championing the conversation of the National Guard coming in. And it's my brother, right? So we're having a dialogue, and it's my brother, and I know your experience, right? So it's very difficult for me to push back against your experience when I haven't
Can't deny your trauma like that.
had that specific experience,
Right. Right.
right? But here's the back end of that, though, y'all. And this is what I keep talking about, the collective, right? Not the me, but the we, right? You can't find any sociologist in the history of man that will say that the only cure to violence is economic sovereignty. They won't say that, right? That's the only cure. Because when people are hurting, they hurt. Period. No matter where you live, no matter what environment, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It is the very nature of the human experience, right? But we never have arguments about the corporate system letting go of money. We'll never have that argument. We got a whole anti-violence system in Chicago, a system that brings in hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars.
Hmm.
The violence is proliferated by black people. The black people suffer from the violence. The black people pay for the violence. It's all white folks at the executive positions of them $100 million operations, right? We don't never have that conversation.
Yeah, but if we understand the real dynamics to be able to follow violence from its inception, we understand that it comes from these
And I'm going
top
somewhere
level
with this.
corporations
I'm
and
going.
politics.
I'm going somewhere
Yeah.
with, and I'm walking a long way, but I'm going somewhere. All of this is a power conversation. All of it. There's no history. There's no written history that says bringing a militarized force against your own people ever yields any good results. They always yield bad results. Always. To the people. But to the institution, they yield more power. I keep telling us that we're in the fourth economic revolution of America. And it's the most threatening one we've ever seen because it's digital. And we don't fucking need people. So we're going to keep inching for more and more and more and more. And the only way we're going to get more and more and more and more is if you acquiesce. You have to fucking acquiesce because we can't keep inching if you revolt, right? So the only reason he was able to do that shit in D.C. is because D.C. is not a fucking state, right? Him coming here, he needs permission per constitution, per law, per government, per shit that keeps this shit standardized from the governor. He breaks that tie. What does he ultimately do? He breaks the tie of constitutional law. I don't give a fuck, right? He's already been touting this conversation of, I want to be the king, right? I want to be an emperor. I might consider a third term, breaking the rule of constitution again.
Dictator.
I have no problem. Fuck your rule. The rule that has standardized operations in this country, right? Now, standardized operations in this country has left us at the bottom. That is the truth.
Right.
Right? But the new operational system ain't to pull us up.
No.
Right? It's to impose more authority on not just us, but everybody.